Some things are better left buried. That's what Emma's grandmother always told her when she was a child. But when Emma inherited the old family house in rural Maine, she didn't listen. She wanted to clean it out, to strip away the dusty memories and start fresh. The house was large and creaky, a place where every step echoed as though someone were following just a few feet behind. The wallpaper peeled like old skin, and the smell of mildew clung to the air. Yet, despite its age, Emma felt drawn to it. This was her family's legacy, and she wanted to make it hers. The attic was the worst part. Low ceiling, one tiny window, and boxes stacked like forgotten tombstones. Dust swirled around her flashlight beam as she opened one crate after another. Old letters, yellowed photographs, broken furniture, and then something wrapped in a yellowed cloth, tucked deep in a wooden trunk. Emma unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a doll. Its porcelain face was cracked in places, one eye missing, and its mouth painted in a permanent red smile. The doll's dress was old-fashioned, laced and faded, with a faint smell of smoke, as if it had been pulled from a fire long ago. Emma shivered. The doll felt wrong, heavy, though it was small, cold, though the attic was warm. Still, she carried it downstairs, thinking maybe it was an antique worth keeping. At dinner that night, she told her neighbor, Mrs. Cartwright, about it. The old woman went pale, her fork frozen halfway to her mouth. "You found her?" she whispered. "Her who?" Emma asked, uneasy. Mrs. Cartwright leaned closer. "That doll belonged to your great-aunt Margaret. She was obsessed with it. People said she spoke to it like it was alive. After Margaret died in a fire, the doll was the only thing that survived. They tried burning it, burying it, even throwing it into the river, but it always came back. Always." Emma forced a laugh. "It's just a doll." But Mrs. Cartwright didn't laugh. Her wrinkled hands trembled as she crossed herself. "Don't keep it in that house, child. Some things cling tighter than life itself." That night, Emma dreamed of fire. Flames raced up the walls, smoke filled the room, and in the middle of it all stood the doll, perfect and untouched, smiling through the chaos. Its single eye gleamed like a coal. She woke with a start, drenched in sweat. And there, on her nightstand, sat the doll. Emma sat up, heart hammering. She remembered clearly. She had left it in the attic. She grabbed the doll, marched downstairs, and threw it into the fireplace. She lit a match, tossed it in, and watched the flames rise. The doll's dress blackened. The fire roared. But when the flames died down, the doll was still there. Unburned, untouched, smiling. Emma's hands shook. "That's not possible," she whispered. From that night on, the house felt different. The air was colder. Shadows moved where they shouldn't. Emma heard faint giggles in the hall when no one was there. Sometimes at night, she woke to creaking footsteps just outside her bedroom door. But when she opened it, the hall was empty, except for the doll, sitting neatly on the floor as if it had been waiting. One morning she came down to the kitchen and froze. The doll was seated at the table, a knife laid neatly in front of it. Her stomach turned. She shoved the knife away and carried the doll back to the attic. But when she returned to the kitchen, the knife was back in its place. Gleaming, clean, almost as though someone had washed it. Another time, she found tiny soot footprints across the floor, leading from the fireplace to her bedroom. Her fear grew until it felt like the house itself was suffocating her. Desperate, Emma called her grandmother's old pastor, hoping he could bless the house. The pastor took one look at the doll and recoiled. "I can't help you," he said, trembling. "You're a man of God," Emma pleaded. "Please, do something." But his face was pale. "That thing isn't just cursed, it's marked. It carries the fire that took your aunt's soul. It won't let go until it takes another. If you keep it here, it will burn more than just your house." And with that, he left. Emma was alone again. She tried everything. She buried the doll deep in the woods, digging until her hands blistered. But when she came home, it was waiting on her porch, its cracked face lit by the moon. She locked it in a box and dropped it in the lake. The next morning, it was sitting at the foot of her bed, dripping wet, the water soaking into her blankets. She tried driving miles away and leaving it in a stranger's barn. But when she returned, it was on her kitchen counter, its smile wider than before. No matter what she did, it wouldn't leave her. The nightmares grew worse. In them, the doll whispered in a voice like crackling flames, "Play with me, or burn with me." Emma stopped sleeping. She stopped eating. Her skin grew pale, her eyes hollow. The house reeked of smoke, though no fire burned. Sometimes she swore she saw her great-aunt Margaret in the corners of her vision. Charred skin, hollow eyes, whispering to the doll. Finally, Emma decided to end it once and for all. She dragged the doll back to the attic, every step heavy with dread. She set it on the wooden floor, doused it in gasoline, and struck a match. The fire roared so high it nearly touched the ceiling. She coughed and gagged, eyes stinging with smoke. But still, the doll stood untouched, its grin wider now, its single eye glinting with something alive. The flames spread. Boxes ignited, beams cracked, the roof groaned. Emma realized too late. She hadn't trapped the doll, she had trapped herself. She tried to run, but the attic door slammed shut with a force that rattled the walls. Through the smoke, she swore she heard the doll laugh. Her vision blurred, her lungs burned, and the last thing she saw before everything went black was that porcelain smile glowing through the fire. The next morning, when the fire department searched the ruins, they found no trace of Emma. But in the ashes of the attic, sitting neatly on a charred beam, was the doll, untouched, still smiling and waiting. Tell us in the comments, what would you do if you found a doll that refused to burn? Would you keep it, bury it, or run from it forever?